Hi and welcome to Unlisted. My name is Jibran, and with me we've got Sam Malik. We've been trying to tap into making conversations and exploring ideas. Something that's unusual, something that's different, some things we think about, but we don't speak about it, or even if we do. We don't go into details and turn them into real conversations, and these things can be real, very, very real. In light of that, earlier we been discussing the seven chakras. We have about 5 episodes made on that. Please do watch those videos. They would be really helpful because these conversations you will have to go back to those fundamentals that we spoke about in those videos, and you'll have a clearer and a better understanding. Well, with me, we've got Sam Malik. Sam is a healer, and he's a spiritual healer. And if you want to get in touch with him, you can contact him on his website, that is Healed by Life, and you can also watch his YouTube channel. Really informative. Sam, thank you so much for your time, and thank
My
you for
pleasure.
being. Yeah, how are you doing, by the way?
I'm well. I'm really well.
Great, man. You're always well. That's a good thing. Okay, well, so when we were discussing the chakras and off the record, we wanted to start this thing. It's a segment we wanted to initiate is reading the chakras of famous, popular, influential people, and find out what's going on in their lives, and you know. So sorry for my phone kind of speaks by itself. Okay, so we decided to go with Donald Trump. I know the elections are right around the corner. They're tomorrow, I believe. Well, can't be a better personality, I guess. So in lieu of that, let's start with the idea of chakra reading on Donald Trump. And mind you, this analysis Sam has done is for today. Obviously, we are constantly evolving, and Sam, if you can clarify on that later as well, that a reading
Sure.
today would be different from reading done weeks ago and could be different from done tomorrow. The
Yes.
changes can occur.
Yes.
Well, okay, big question, and that is Donald Trump soulless?
No, he's definitely not. And I would like to say something here, Gibran, that as a healer, there are, of course, ethics involved. I'm not allowed to share private information for individuals. But here this is a public figure, and I'm going to maintain his or her privacy. Yet we do have a right to talk about these people.
Of course.
This is my perspective as a spiritual person, and when I analyze somebody I'm required to vote for, or somebody part of the in the elite of the world who's directly influencing us, within boundaries, I have a right to speak. But some of this is very amusing, and
Oh,
yeah, he doesn't have soul.
you have spicy stuff for us. That means
Just a little bit, but it's a question of how you look at it.
I
None
do.
of us are perfect, and none of us are free of disorders. But this guy has his own story. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, well, story or not, but here is my question. I mean,
Yes.
I want to start top down in some order.
Okay.
Is he a saint, or is he doing God's work, or is he like just another capitalist who is out there to make a name and money and create a legacy?
Wow, what a question. No, he's not a saint, huh? Even though he has pretensions of being one, or at least that's what he projects. But his crown chakra is blocked, Gibran. He is not in alignment with the
What?
divine right now. Yeah, but this could also be because of the moment, right? To keep the crown chakra open, you need to be detached from whatever outcomes are about to take place. But this guy is very interested in the election right now. He's, you know, so yes. So right now he's not a man of God, and in fact his connection with the divine is a little bit weak.
Oh. So, well, this is very interesting. So he's not soulless, but he's not in connection with the divine. So he's somewhere in between. Let's explore that
Yes.
idea.
Yes.
Donald Trump is a figure where there is a very clear split between two opposite ideas or perceptions of him. Some hold and understand this idea or believe in this idea that he is not very intelligent, whereas on the other side, the other lobby or the other group believes completely the opposite. And so, is he intuitive or is he intelligent? Let's put it that way, because he's definitely not dumb.
Yeah, very interesting question. I think so. His third eye chakra, which is here, is completely open. He is connected with the universe. He's so intuitive. In fact, a lot of his career is based on intuition rather than intellect. I'm not saying he's dumb, but he knows the art of connecting with the universe and receiving information. He has, at this age, I think he's 78. His eyes are looking into the future and into the past and are very sharp, and his ears are, completely open, and remarkable guy, very intuitive.
Wow. Okay, that's quite interesting. A guy at this age definitely shows signs of really good health, apparently. So.
Yes, he does. He really does.
Okay. Well, obviously, you can't be a weak figure to create a change or stir a big change on a global level. So, can he possibly be a guy or the guy who can change the world, or who can influence the world on a really big level or spectrum?
Yes. Gibran, yes. His thyroid chakra is wide open, and he has the power of manifestation. He has the power to create changes and influence the universe in a big way. So, so the answer is yes. But there is a but involved somewhere over there. His sinuses are blocked.
What?
Yeah, maybe his tonsils have been removed or they are infected. And also his thyroid organ is not fully functional, so he's having metabolic problems or whatever. This could be a reaction to stress right now. I think he's also surrounded by people who are constantly irritating him. But he, in spite of these shortcomings, he is still able to manifest. He's still able to influence the universe.
So with thyroid, I believe it's a throat chakra, right?
Yes, right here.
Air element.
Ether element.
Ether element. So for those of you who are watching this video and don't understand what we're talking about, this is why I mentioned, please do go watch the series of 5 videos, 5 episodes about the chakras, and you'll know exactly what it is. But for those who haven't watched it yet, briefly, if you can touch upon what does the thyroid gland has to do something with the chakra, and what does the chakra represent? Just a very quick one.
Okay, the thyroid chakra is different from the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland controls our hormones in the body. So if you have insulin resistance, if even one of your hormones is off balance, then the thyroid gland suffers. So there is some physical imbalance in his body. But spiritually speaking, the thyroid chakra, which uses ether as a fuel and helps make changes in the universe, helps you manifest things. People also use the term, makes your prayers become real, or so that's all good with Donald.
Wow. So there
That's
is
all.
little to no correlation between the chakra and the gland itself.
There is, and yet there isn't. Yes, they
All
do
right.
work independently. Yeah.
Okay. So he sounds like a Marvel character up until now. I mean,
Yes.
he's a
But
guy who can influence the world on a bigger level, and if he wins the elections and he is the next president of the United States, I mean, he is on the hot seat, frankly speaking. But
He is. But he's
uh,
no saint. Let me repeat that. He's no saint.
I get it. I get it. There is so a man who's not soulless isn't a saint. Extremely, if not intelligent, intuitive, has the ability to influence the world or change the world on a big level. Well, then it comes down to intentions. I mean, is he a good man or is he a selfish character? I mean, how do we assess that? Because
That's where the heart chakra comes in, Gibran. And his heart chakra is wide open. He is a man full of love. Amazing. Yeah, I think his whole existence is fueled by love. So, yes, he's not a saint, but having such a strong heart chakra is a saintly attribute, right? So, like I said, maybe the crown chakra is blocked right now because he's nervous about the elections. But his heart is wide open. He hardly hates anybody, and his heart organ is also in very good shape. So this man is all heart.
are you doing this deliberately?
No, not at all. Not
No,
at all.
because you know what the funny thing is. I mean, I'm going to circle back to this question, and I'm going to come back to this, but I'm going to give you a little tinkle here. A person with a heart chakra that wide open, a person who has this element of love, which is kind of strong, and he is definitely projecting it outwards too. How come he has so many enemies and people against him, and episodes of calling women by certain names, and then cases on him? I'm going to circle back to this one, but I think I've got a bigger element here that I want to actually talk about. You're making me literally go blank up here. I had a bunch of questions I wanted to ask about him. And I'm sure people who are watching also have this similar questions, if not the same. I'm going to touch base with a little conspiracy, something which is unusual, supernatural. I've heard and I've seen videos in the past, people talking about reptilians, and these reptilians and these kind of cases always happen around influential people or people, like politicians and these global world leaders. Does he have reptilians around him too in those black suits, or is he possessed himself in some which way? Or he has something to do with these things?
Okay, all right. Well, Gibran, so the next chakra is the fire chakra, the sun chakra, the chakra of identity, right? And that chakra in Donald Trump is rather weak. Now, it's not weak to the point of possession, but I think the guy is spiritually under attack a lot. And so far, he has been deflecting it. But he's not free from all the problems that come with it, right? For example, in the sun chakra area are the liver. So his liver is perfectly healthy. So this guy is not operating out of anger, right? And his spleen is healthy, so he's not a stubborn man. But either he's pre-diabetic or there is some issue with insulin. His pancreas are compromised, and so is his stomach. So all of this makes me think that he has some kind of an identity problem, some kind of conflict with his identity of who he is. Yes.
With that, With that big concern at hand of identity crisis, it's not crisis at least, but it has an identity issue, which,
Yes.
for my understanding, is quite a concern. And with that concern, how has he able to rose up to these ranks as a successful businessman, entrepreneur, philanthropist, a president of a country?
Purely through having a good heart and being very intuitive, right? So yes, he must have inherited wealth and so on and so forth, but that's not that's not the entire story here. He's very intuitive, very intelligent, and has a big heart, and these things have really helped him rise up in the ranks. So the Sun Chakra, the identity problem, in fact, now this is my personal opinion. Okay, this is it's not like the chakra reading is telling me this. It's just telling me that he doesn't fit in. Maybe he is an outsider to this whole political thing. He genuinely doesn't fit in, and he's not sure about where he falls, but he's very confident. He's not afraid, but yeah, there is some identity complex going on over there, right? Another thing, Gibran, something touching politics perhaps. A man of God, a saint, is for all of mankind, right?
Okay.
He or she cannot differentiate between nations and races and national interests. Whereas Donald Trump is in a position where he has to. And perhaps that's what's not fitting in here. He is required to think of America first and kill the enemy, for example. But I think deep down inside, he's the kind of guy who would like to love all of humanity equally, but it's not possible. And that's causing digestive problems, perhaps pre-diabetes. There's some bitterness in his life. There are certain individuals he's not willing to forgive,
Oh, really? So you can
really
be all loving and still hold grudges.
Yes. So it's a paradox, right? It's a contradiction. But yes, there are, and that happens when, in terms of your own identity, you can say, well, I'm a very loving guy and I can love almost everybody, but not her or him, right? So there's a bit of that going on,
Okay, for those of you who are listening, listen to this again. Sam, so you can love people, yet you can still hold a grudge. It doesn't make you a bad person, does it?
Well, it doesn't make you a bad person, but it compromises your identity. It affects your digestion. It affects it can give you diabetes, or gallbladder can go haywire. So there is a consequence, that when you make up your mind to not forgive everybody equally. But sometimes we can't, right? Or sometimes the role we assume. So Donald Trump is a human being, and he has assumed the role of a leader, and there is a price to pay for that.
Okay, for those of you who are watching this and are starting to have indigestion, you can contact Sam. But let's continue this indigestive conversation a little further, because now you've added more fuel to the fire I had in my mind. This guy has love, but this guy also has certain problems, and could have problems with people, and certain things have manifested into certain organs of his, like you mentioned. He is not possessed, but he is...
there is another but. There is another but. He has parasites.
Oh, man.
Which is a minor form of possession. But it's just minor, right?
So parasites are also somewhat a form of possession.
But
elaborate that.
I mean, it's an invasive thing living in your body. It has an effect on the mind. It has an effect on how you think, how you feel. So yes, he does have some parasites.
Oh wow. Did he eat
Yeah,
salmon?
I probably did. Yeah,
So so
probably.
so you can get parasites from certain foods, right?
Yes.
Are there any
Oh,
other ways you can get parasites? I mean, just I know this is not the topic, but could be
dirty water,
informative.
sexual encounters,
Ooh,
food which is infected, countless ways.
I'm gonna get to the sex part later.
Okay,
Most probably
all
with
right.
Donald Trump, but in a different way. Okay, I'm not gonna be promiscuous about it. But for now, what's more important is that I wanted to ask you. Um, I am still in my two minds on my opinion about Donald Trump. To be very honest, it just gives weight to both sides of the story at some points. But it raises a question. This guy does seem to give out an impression of being power hungry. Is he an egomaniac as well? At some level?
All right. So the ego is not in balance, right? He is
Huh.
he is not sure of who he really is, and now this statement is to be taken in a metaphysical way. I'm sure he knows he's Donald Trump, but why was he born? What happens when you die? Who are you in between? There's some conflict over there, right? And I don't. So he's not an egomaniac, but his ego is not in balance. Now, somebody whose ego is in balance is a saint. So Donald Trump is no saint,
I
right?
see.
Yeah. So, and we should all aspire to be saints and nothing less than that, for a full life experience, to enjoy life every second of our life. But, well, so he does have problems there. Also, there is an element of shame somewhere over there. I don't know. I really don't know his story well enough to tell you why, but there is an element of shame. Sometimes he's ashamed of himself, and to cover that, he becomes, a person who comes across as an egomaniac to compensate for that
Oh,
shame.
I see. So it could be a defense mechanism, an appearance.
Yes, yes.
Right.
But then he's a public figure. He's constantly under attack. Some things do get to you, right?
Of course.
But he still hasn't found his balance.
So, but he is power hungry.
Not in a vicious way. No, he's not a warmonger. He's not. This is not all for himself. Let me assure you, right? His heart chakra is so active that whether you want to call it delusion or whether you want to, whatever label you want to give it, he is not just in this for himself. There are certain people he loves, or groups of people that he loves, and he's partly doing it for them too.
So he is partly
But
a saint.
Partly a saint, yes, in his own
Own
weird
way. Right.
Yeah.
But aren't
But
we all?
the mistake he's making, Gibran, I'm going to repeat it. He's not doing it for all of humanity, and that's the conflict.
Ah,
He is doing
there
it
we
for
go.
his people, his family, his belief system, and yet he wants to be a world leader. But the world is full of all people, all points of view.
That's
So that's the main conflict.
it is complex. I think that's too much pressure for one person. His
That's
shoulders
right.
to carry all the burden. It's not easy, of course. I mean, it's very easy for us to expect certain things out of people, but it's them who are actually going to do it, so they know what the pressure is about.
That's right. That's
You
right.
said he's not a warmonger.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll take that. There are instances, and during his term, we have seen that he has tried to back off from the wars U.S. was engaged in, and withdrawal of forces and all that stuff. But a war does not necessarily today's day and age represent a physical warfare. It can be a psychological warfare, information warfare. intelligence warfare. It's a different ball game. Do you think he could be alternatively participating into an alternative style of war?
Oh yes, he's definitely fought an economic war with China, for example, and so yes.
So he has
Back
the
to that.
tendency.
Yeah, but he's not a vicious man. His liver is healthy. He's he is not obsessed with violence.
Okay.
But they are grudges.
His
and
style
there
is
some
quite
bitterness.
aggressive. His style is
Yes,
quite
his
aggressive.
style is very aggressive. Yes. Yeah.
Is that a mere requirement for a person to be in his position to have that persona, or
Of
do you think
course.
parts of him have that uncontrollable fire as well?
Hard for me to say, but I think he somehow thinks he doesn't fit in with the power structure, and he reacts to that in a strong way. Maybe they don't accept him, but there is some alienation with the immediate circle he has to operate within.
Well, then could he have complexes over certain things? Let's not
Yeah.
talk. I don't want to talk about in his favor or against him. I want to have a balanced perspective on, or say multiple angular perspective. So on one side he has certain acceptance, identity, say, issues. On the other side, he's fighting people where there is no acceptance for him. He finds himself out of place. That can lead to complexes.
Yes, it can. But where Trump keeps winning is he genuinely loves people. Not all of them, but he loves people, his people, and and he's very intuitive. So he keeps winning.
I think
Yes,
people
very
love him back.
strong. Yeah, he has very strong enemies also, and he reacts to them also. And yeah, that's the thing about characters like Donald Trump, that people who vote for him or who follow him generally love him back. You said it. It's not about his politics or it's really about loving his persona, what he represents. So the processes are a little irrational, and I don't put them down. I think they are equally important.
Well said. I think that's a good way to look at things. And that this is also true that people who actually are for him are really diehard fans for more reasons which are personal than more reasons that are based on leadership things.
That's right.
Must be a sign of a good person, actually. So I'll give that.
A loving person. A loving person.
Okay, let's get the loving person down to. A loving person cannot be loving towards people who are outside your house, or your people only. I mean, you have to go into a more, say, closer setup, like within my own family, within his marriage. What do you make of that? Because have been quite a lot of rumors regarding Melania, and their separation could have led to divorce and all that stuff. Where do you place Donald Trump in his marriage then, if he's so loving?
Okay, all right. So now we are moving on to the
I'm being naughty here. So
I know. So we are moving on to the water chakra, and the dude is in very good shape in terms of sexuality even right now. Okay?
He's 78.
But there is no imbalance in his sexuality, and the bladder gives me a clue to marital relationships, and his bladder is doing really well. Now, is Melania the person we are talking about, or does he have a secret lover? I don't know. Okay, but whoever.
I don't want to get shadow banned, so.
And I don't want to start rumors, but
Okay.
For all appearances, it seems like he's in a very healthy relationship with Melania.
Could he
Whether we
possibly
get it
be?
or
Could he
we don't.
possibly be a sex maniac? If he
No.
is so active and all the chakras suggest so. No.
I think he's sexually very healthy and balanced, and
Not on an overdrive.
No, not on a low drive also,
Oh.
and at least not right now. And I don't think he has any kind of violent streak in him. In fact, he's a very generous man from his reading. He's a giving man, loving man. He enjoys life. He loves the luxuries of life. He loves beautiful women.
Yeah, I think that's something we've seen. That's true.
But in a balanced way, Gibran. He's not a violent rapist kind of a guy, and I know people have tried to paint that picture of him, but at least my reading of him right now does not show anything like that. And he doesn't hold a lot of guilt in his body. He has the ability to let go of guilt.
Oh.
And he would rather enjoy life than sit there holding his guilt, making life heavier because of not being able to let go of it. So yeah, he's a guy who enjoys life.
I think had he had guilt, say for instance, he wouldn't be running for contesting for elections this time. I mean, his body language at least would have been very different, which it doesn't appear to be, and yeah, it does make sense. Well, it does make quite a lot of sense. Of course, there'll be a lot of questions. They are apparently, say, not contradictions, but opposing opinions or opposing ideas concurrently exist in certain places. At least in my mind, when I speak to you about Trump. Let me say this in a different way. We experienced. Okay, let's put it this way. He had assassination attempts.
Yes.
One we know of, right? During his rally. Do you think it would have set some fear in him, made him afraid of certain things, would have changed the whole method how he thinks, or how his body is operating, how he is in connection, in conjunction with himself and the outside world? Would it have affected him?
It should have affected him, but it didn't, and I don't understand that. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of anything. This is a very brave man. His earth chakra is wide open. He's so grounded. He is. I don't understand. I mean, if people were trying to shoot me, that chakra would close up for a very, very long time, I think. So either there is something that you and I don't understand.
A lot of things would close up.
Yes, a lot of things would close up. But no, it does not seem to have had an effect on him. So he's fearless, at least that's very, once again, there is a contradiction here. He's fearless, yet he's very concerned about the outcome of the election, right? So, I don't know what to say. Human emotions are very complex. They're not there so that we can, have a nice, comfortable discussion about them. They are there for us to learn from, and there is a lot of contradiction in this guy's personality right now. And but he's still not afraid. He's not a guy who gets afraid easily. His kidneys are in good health. He's doing pretty well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump may not be a Marvel superhero, but he is a super character, apparently. So,
yes, and I need to interject and share one more reading from you. Almost all of us, if I were to do a reading for your timeline, would have moments of trauma, right? And they would be embedded into our behavior, but he does not, Gibran, not a single trauma, I couldn't pick up on any trauma. So you know what that means? That means that this guy has been working really hard to release trauma.
Wow.
He is a spiritual guy. He knows he's not a fool. He's worked hard to detoxify his mind, body, and soul. He's no ordinary guy.
I'm
no
sure.
trauma in this guy.
I'm sure he has his Sam Malik with him, who's probably taking him through these kind of journeys. But Sam, here's the question: Just in a hypothesis or hypothetical situation, Trump watches this video and he decides to come to you for healing. Would you have some sort of advice for him at this point?
Of course I would. I can't keep my mouth shut, right? Of course I would. My advice to all human beings would be the same, by the way.
Right.
That, relax and, detach a little bit from life. Don't take it so seriously. And don't give yourself a role which is very difficult to live up to. Chill, man. We're all going to die, and let's die happy. That's the kind of role I would give him. But, since he's so driven by intuition, perhaps the universe has chosen this role for Trump rather than the other way around, right?
Of course.
But like I said, spiritually, the only mistake he's making, at least my point of view of that, is that he should be everyone's president and should reconcile the whole world. And that's a very tall order, right? I mean,
of course.
In today's politics, that's almost impossible. But if that is his objective, then wow, whether he can do it or not, he will.
Maybe he has that in mind at some point.
Perhaps.
Say he becomes the president, he's able to turn around America in a good fashion, in a good way. Maybe the region themselves, and by large the whole planet itself. I mean, let's see where he already has a very big task at hand at this point, or any US president, as a matter of fact, would have that. But really, thank you for sharing those amazing insights. I mean, I wasn't expecting most of the things, to be very honest.
But neither was I. When I was doing the reading, I was very surprised.
Yeah.
The sort of things Trump is accused of. Corruption and being a sex offender, a violent person. All of that is not in my reading. None of it is.
Could there be a way? Well, this question wasn't intended, but I'll ask you, could there be a way to hide these things from being read?
Yes, if you're spiritually reconciled with these things and if you don't feel guilt for them. But in a healthy way, it's not an unhealthy discussion we are having. We're not talking about disorder. But if you're a spiritual master and you can say, okay, everybody screws up, I screwed up, no big deal, let it go, then yeah, there is a way in. So if you follow that process, I would never pick up on these things.
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, whether it be that Donald Trump is not soulless, that is given, he's not a saint either, but he does seem like an amazing character. And I think we should be doing more of these character analysis in the future if Sam agrees, but that's also based on that's also based on your reactions. So yes. do send us messages, and for those of you who want to get their private analysis done for their health matters, or want to get in touch with Sam for spiritual healing, can get in touch with him over his website, which is healedbylife.com, or connect with him on his YouTube channel, which is also Healed by Life. Sam, thank you for being with us, and it was an amazing session with you as
My
always.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Till next time.
And I have a confession to make. This is the first time I've done a analysis of a celebrity or a famous person like this, and I really enjoyed it without being unethical.
Yes, it's a slippery slope, I know.
Yes, it is.
Well, hopefully we'll not be shadow banned, or we won't have any copyright strikes or allegations. So we'll be able to continue these sessions. Well, till the next session. Sam, thank you so very much, and thank you guys as well. We'll catch up soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Chakra.